Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another episode. We're going to be talking today about protecting sensitive data. And we're going to talk about a few different kinds of data that are, exactly. First step number 1, don't let anybody see your stuff ever.
It's actually a really good...
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. She's not wrong.
Don't let anybody touch your stuff ever. We're going to talk about a couple different concepts today. Talk about data loss prevention and PII and cardholder stuff and just, lions and tigers and bears. So let's start with the idea of data loss prevention. When we talk about data loss, I get these confused.
Okay.
Are we talking about data like that is lost because it's deleted or eliminated, or data that's lost because somebody exfiltrates it?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah.
Both is good.
Any kind of loss of data is, unless it's authorized loss of data, that's no bueno.
Like intentional destruction of data.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? So whether it be that, a lot of times though, when we hear DLP thrown around, it is for the obfuscation of sensitive things. So a lot of times I'll bring up when I discuss DLP, if you've ever worked inside of Microsoft's 365 has DLP that you can enable and work with, right? You can say, hey, I want to have DLP crank that wick up and help me from accidentally exposing sensitive information through things like my emails and my Teams messages and so on and so forth, right? So what does that do? What does that look like? Well, if you put something like a social security number in the body of an email, it'll obfuscate that or remove it completely. Yeah, because that's sensitive information. We don't want to have that loss as in we have lost it, it's out there in the wild and anybody can see it. Oh no. And also we don't want to lose data either, as far as like you said, destruction. I don't want some accidental deletion. So there's a lot of different ways in which DLP will be implemented to prevent loss of data, but usually it's some sort of software mechanism that is your major way in which you enact this or that you employ DLP. But DLP is more of a mindset, a procedure in which you prevent the loss of data. How can we keep this safe? Do we have backup systems in place? Is there obfuscations being done? That is the idea behind DLP.
And another important thing to talk about when we talk about protecting sensitive data would be the idea of PII, or personally identifiable information. And this is kind of a wide range of stuff, right? Like it could be like dates of birth. It could be something like a social security number, right? It could be a lot.
I wish I had an old phone book, right? I would just be like, you see this thing we used to throw on everybody's front porch? Yeah, this is called PII now, right? And PII, personally identifiable information, right? So what's your name? Social security numbers, of course. What's your address? What's your phone number? Email address? And then any other thing that identifies you as you, and the little bits and pieces that kind of like differentiate you from other people, and your proclivities, your things that you're into. What are your hobbies? That could be PII. That's personally identifiable, something that I can marry to the unit that is you. So
like my first name by itself, lots of people are named Sophie. Right. That's not really what we're talking about when we say PII, right?
It is PII, but it's unless I can attribute Sophia to you, the person.
Right.
Then it's too abstract.
It's not extremely
useful.
Right. Okay. It's not extremely sensitive.
Right. It's just not useful at that point.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right?
But my full name, first, middle, and last.
Now
that would be
we gotta get somewhere. That's exactly right. Especially if you got your middle name in there.
Yeah. No
right.
kidding.
Because there's very
That's why
few
I'm not saying
people,
it.
Yeah. There's very few people with your first, middle, and last.
Right.
And then you start marrying that with other pieces of information. It's so funny. We make the joke about throwing phone books on porches and stuff, but there is big money in selling PII. Mm-hmm. It is extremely valuable in today's economy. That's why data breaches constantly are, we had a data breach and the attacker was able to access certain PII about our customers, so customer data. We hope that it wasn't PII like your username and password. That would be really sensitive PII because that is a piece of information that is attached to you as a person. So if I was able to get Sophia, middle name Goodwin, as well as the username and password that's associated with that user account, well, now I'm getting somewhere. And if I sell that information, even if they aren't going to use it to log in and act as Sophia, they can use it to profile her, advertise to her. That's why Google and Facebook and Twitter and all these other entities give it away for free, right? it's not really free. You're just buying it with your information. Okay? Their job is to make sure that that information only gets sold instead of stolen. I don't know if that makes it any better or not, but if you get a high bid, I guess.
I was gonna say, morally, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, but in the end of the day, they are responsible for the safe preservation and custodial, administration of your PII, and they do this through things like encryption, and that's at rest, on the wire, in use, whatever the case is, obfuscation, any way that they can, and of course network segmentation, right. Put it into databases, make sure that database is untouchable by the outside. You get the idea. We start throwing fences around it, as many as possible, so that it's extremely difficult for you to get at if you were an attacker. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying protecting sensitive data. Encryption is going to be your number one go-to here, though, right? If you encrypt it and those encryption keys are kept secret, as they should be, your PII should be doing all right.
Right.
That's going to be, like I said, your big leg to stand on when it comes to protecting PII.
Because even if, for whatever reason, the encrypted information is leaked or it gets out, if it's encrypted, it's not really of use to somebody until
Correct.
they get it decrypted out.
Yeah, if I grab encrypted data, it's just encrypted. If I don't have those encryption keys,
bunch of letters and numbers
it's just
or whatever.
a jumble of bits. That's right.
That's true. Okay, good to keep in mind. So that's PII, the concept of PII, and why it's important to protecting your sensitive data. And then we also want to talk about cardholder data, or CHAD is how I'm
Chad, you're going with
it.
CHAD.
CHAD, yeah.
I don't know if CHAD is an industry term, at least for cardholder
It's
data.
a Sophie term.
I like it.
It'll help me remember.
All in favor say aye. Aye. The ayes have. Motion passed.
So CHD is what you've got it abbreviated to. CHD.
Cardholder data. This is going to be in the PCI world, right? The payment card industry. Obviously, a card holder, what we're talking about here, is a payment card. That's the cardholder data that we're talking about. So if we want to keep that secret and safe, which we do, well, guess what? If it's PCI, then there is the PCI DSS, which is a regulatory framework for how we are standard for how we should be doing this. So I can just lean on the document, which I happen to have right here. Let's take a look, shall we? Here it is, and a protected stored account data is under requirement 3, and we can see we have a few lovely helps here, and you can obviously dive down into this. I'll make sure that this link is available to you in your learner resources for you, because hey, I like you.
What a nice guy. So generous.
Bad, right? So processes and mechanisms for protecting stored data account are defined and understood. So this is why this is an important document for us. The storage of the account data is kept to a minimum. Right? So don't store things you don't need to store. That's that simple. It helps you stay out of a problem. If I ain't got it, I can't be held responsible for it. Now can I? Right? I don't have to put time, effort, and resources into keeping that thing safe because I ain't got it on. It ain't on my ballpark. Go somewhere else. We got sensitive data, authentication data, or SAD, is not stored after authorization. Access to display of full PANs. This is the account number, the personal account number, I believe it is. And, primary account number. There it is. Primary account number. Ha ha ha. And ability to copy cardholder data are restricted. So you have to put restrictions in place. It's going to be permissions. It's going to be authorization, authentications. That kind of stuff is going to be in front of that data. Okay? Primary account number is secured whenever it is stored. We want to obfuscate. I don't know if they talk about that at all, or did I read that already? Yeah, access to displays of full PAN and cardholder data are restricted. That means obfuscation. Just obfuscating in somewhere. You know how you get it's like, oh, give me the last 4, because that's all they can see. And they might be able to see more than that, but ultimately in any system that runs cardholder data, it should start off with it's obfuscated in some way. You can't see the full thing, okay? And moving on, cryptographic keys are used to protect stored account data are secured. That seems like a no-brainer right there. I like to keep my keys out on the front porch. You never know.
Keep them in one of those little rocks.
Yeah, under the mat. Yeah. That's where I put all my cryptographic
Nobody will ever know.
Yeah. Looks just like a rock. Says, God bless this mess. Right. No one will know that inside lurks my keys. I'm crafty, aren't I?
It's my security strategies that are a mess. That's the mess God needs to bless.
That's no doubt. Let's see here. What else we got? One more, right? Where cryptography is used, to protect stored account data, key management processes and procedures covering all aspects of the key lifecycle are defined and implemented. I know, I do love a good scroll over. So there you go. You got to have good key management, storage, rotation, all that stuff. Handling your keys in a secure way is going to be one of the major things that you can do, because if you're encrypting your user data using those keys, again, here we are leaning on encryption again. They give you guidelines in here in the PCI DSS. Sometimes they give you latitude, sometimes they don't. But if you are in this cardholder realm, this is your Bible, right? This is your single source of truth. You go to this thing, you find out what it requires of you, and then you try to find the best solution to implement those security measures. Right?
Okay.
So there you go. So that's how we protect some cardholder data.
And like you said, you were pulling that stuff, that what you were reading from was the PCI DSS, right?
Yes.
So that is the standard for protecting that cardholder data.
You nailed it.
Or protecting Chad, as I'm choosing to say. Don't write that down though, because that's not official. That's just my mnemonic device.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it, I think, for this discussion on protecting sensitive data. So you made quick work of that. Nice job. I'm proud to work with you.
Every now and then we are efficient.
We are efficient. So thanks for walking us through all of that, and thank you for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time.